Hi everyone! So we are going to be taking a walk down memory lane with some wedding photos that I shot of wedding shoes specifically. So if you like shoes and you like weddings, then you're going to want to watch this video. Now, if you haven't yet, click subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. So the shoes are a really big part of the day. I personally believe that taking a photo of the shoes is really acting as a time capsule of when you're actually getting married, right? So we have all of these very modern things that we wear. I think years from now, if you choose to have children, your children are going to look back at your photos and they're going to see the kind of shoes that we were wearing at the time. So I really feel like this is a time capsule part of the day. Everything else is very moment driven, if you will. So we're going to look back on these, and yeah, I'm going to give you some insight of the day, potentially why people chose that shoe, all those things. What happened? Oh, I just love it. I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm a girly girl, but when it comes to shoes, I'm into it. With weddings, I'm just like into it. I'm into whatever. So I really like it, and let's just dive in right here. All right, so this first pair, this is Jerry-Ann and Anthony. So these shoes were a gift from Anthony to Jerry-Ann, and she hadn't worn them yet, and they were a little uncomfortable, is what I would say. They were a little stiff. Absolutely gorgeous. They're Louboutin, so I mean, stunning, like absolutely stunning. I think that these were a specific shoe that I had never really seen before, and I loved it. So at first I kind of put the shoes on this marble. We have the little twilight, happening on the background with the string lights. I loved it, but then I realized, like, it's a Louboutin, right? We want to see that red bottom. So I opted for a little, I almost like kind of staggered the shoe. I put the shoe right on the other so you could see that red bottom, so you could actually see what's happening. So we still have that twilight. Gorgeous, like they're clear, they're just like, honestly, these shoes kind of make me drool. I'm kind of obsessed. But really what happened next was the most unplanned, beautiful, silly thing that could ever possibly happen. So like I said, the shoes were a little bit uncomfortable for Jerry-Ann, and she sprayed her feet with this, I think it was like a numbing spray. It would also put a sort of film that kind of protects your foot. She sprayed her feet right before walking down the aisle just so she could be like really, really prepared. What ended up happening was that she sprayed her feet so much that as she was walking down the aisle, her feet were actually slipping out of the shoe and she could barely make it down the aisle. She had her two sons by her side, kind of like holding her up and holding her in her shoes. So the actual ceremony where they got married was 2 steps up. Her shoes just fell off. They fell off because as soon as she lifted up her foot to take those steps, her feet kind of just came out of them. And she had this long cathedral veil. As she walked away from her shoes going up the steps, the veil just really beautifully kind of like draped over the shoes. And I'm telling you, this photo was taken in a split second. I went boom, 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 and then up again. And I kind of knew that it was just going to be this really great shot because from the angle that I was at, you see the red bottom, you see the detail. If the shoes had landed any other way, it just wouldn't have been this beautiful shot that it is. And then Jerry-Ann's mother-in-law picked them up right afterwards. So that moment was super brief. It was so beautiful. And this is probably one of my favorite shoe shots that just happened sort of organically. I don't think I'm the best photographer in the world, right? I'm just there to capture the day of my clients in the most honest and kind of like authentic way. I know that's almost like a buzzword for wedding photography. But I don't think that I'm the best. But this photo right here, I don't know why it hits in a way that's just so stunning to me. I don't know. This is Morgan and Frank's wedding day, and the clear block on her shoe with the straps hanging down, this is actually just hanging right on the, it could look like a chair. It's not a chair, it's actually the bed frame of the hotel that they were staying at, which is the Box House Hotel. Super beautiful, the gold detail, even the light that's coming in and creating this pattern that's right there on the bedpost, which is absolutely stunning. I love that the lace is kind of coming down in the same direction as the spokes, I guess you would call them, bed frames, wires, poles, I don't know what you would call them. Again, we have this like clear moment that's happening with a white tip. I'm just obsessed with this shot. I don't know why, I even love that there's a gradient that's happening in the back, right? So you see at the very top, it's dark, but then it goes lighter. And that's no Photoshop or anything like that. This is happening naturally from the white bed sheet that's casting a shadow up on the wall. So I really love it. It was just this like perfect moment. I put it on there. Okay. It was no moment, but I put the shoes on there. And I just found it to be so beautiful. It's definitely one of my favorite shots. Okay, yes, this is Lisa and Billy. I actually didn't do the prep for Lisa because I was a second shooter for this wedding. But I got this shoe shop because Lisa has the date of when they're getting married on her shoe, on her Converse. And I thought it was so cute, and it was kind of like very in the moment. We see her bouquet kind of peeking out from underneath, kind of bringing that color. If that bouquet wasn't there, it would be a subpar image, you know, just like kind of gray and shoes. But I really like this foreground action that's happening. Even the little greenery that's pointing to the date in a very subtle way. So I thought that was really cute. And then we have the harsh shadows that are also kind of, you know, making it be a very big statement that this is their wedding day, this is the shoe that they're wearing. And Lisa just definitely prioritized comfort on her wedding day, which I love. It's a really small wedding in Brooklyn, Cobble Hill area. So it's just so cute, absolutely so cute. And she has those to wear forever and to remind her of her wedding day. Okay, yes. All right, so this is Laura and Angel's wedding. So the funny part about this is that Angel gave Laura a gift for her wedding day. And she didn't see these shoes yet, but I still had to photograph them before she actually got to see them, right? Because we had to kind of like go in the order of events, and we usually do details beforehand and then all those other things. So we were photographing these shoes before Laura had even seen them as the gift. And it was really, really sweet. I love just like how delicate these Jimmy shoes are. So we kind of, so we put them on this wood beaming that has the vines coming up. I love the terracotta color that is just helping with those neutral colors of the shoe. And it was a really sweet moment when Laura actually ended up opening up the shoe. We try to keep them as beautiful as possible and clean. But when she opened them up for the first time, and it was this really beautiful glow that was just happening on her face. It's almost like a softbox. It actually reminded me of Pulp Fiction. But then I had this other shot here, and I chose to kind of do this side angle thing because there's a lot of lines that are happening. You have the shadows in the back, you have the beams that are coming down and so across, and the vines, and then you have the crisscross of the shoe. So it just really worked really well. I loved it. It was just so beautiful. All right, so this is Kristen and John. Now, I am based in New York, but I do travel for weddings. So Kristen and John got married in Cancun, and I really wanted to tie in those like bright elements of what was happening. So put her shoes on this green ottoman. We have the blue, the pink, and the yellow in the back, just to pop. And super sleek shoe. I mean, just absolutely stunning. Really quickly, I caught this moment where Kristen was putting on her shoes, and the way that the fabric of her dress just kind of draped over, and even just her toes like on point. Okay, my pedicure is not good right now. I mean, I'm not getting married right now, but and the stone, I'm just this looks so angelic to me. And even this little Easter egg, you see her hand in the top left corner, and you see the wedding band, and just like all the elements of this photo, I'm obsessed with. I feel like if it was my wedding, I'd probably have this printed. It's probably weird to put feet up on your wall, but I just think it's so beautiful. All right, next up we have Laura and Jamil. Okay, so I love this. So in weddings we have these traditions, and some of the traditions would include, you know, having something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. So something blue were Laura's shoes. I chose to kind of like put them in place to show I wanted to have this image speak to where she was getting married. She was getting married at the old Bermuda Inn, and it has like this historic kind of feel. I think it's called Old Historic Bermuda. I don't know what it's called, but I was there. And so we kind of like, I left those elements in there, just had the shoe kind of staggered. I personally love Sam Edelman. Their shoes for me are very comfortable. So I felt like Laura probably had a great time in these shoes. Blue, a little bit of glitter, really, really sweet. I love them. And we kept the tapestry. I keep on saying we, but really, like, it's just me. I kept the tapestry in the photo just so it kind of like sets the tone of the actual wedding venue. Okay, so this is Megan and Kellen's wedding day. So, a little behind the scenes story about these wedding shoes. They're Converse, but initially, this isn't what Megan was supposed to wear. So for our engagement session, Megan wore the high heels that she was going to be wearing. And it was great. I was like, cool, you're breaking them in for your wedding day. But 1 week, maybe even less than a week before her wedding day, Megan ended up breaking a bone in her foot, and she couldn't wear the heels that she initially wanted. So she ended up opting for a Converse because it was lace up, so she could kind of control how tight and how loose it was, and just her foot would actually fit into it, right? Because it was like swollen. Megan was such a good sport about it. I took a photo of her lacing up her shoe. The wedding day was absolutely beautiful. This is also at Box House Hotel, and it was just fun. And also, I kind of feel like this is Megan's vibe. She's a fun person. She, you know, in hindsight, I almost like can't imagine her in heels, but I think she's serious, but she's a lot of fun, and it was such a great day. So yeah, she was, despite everything, despite breaking a bone less than a week before your wedding, she was in such high spirits because she was going to be marrying Kellen. And I'm telling you, when those two said their vows, I was in tears behind my camera crying. They are so meant to be. So like, shoes, not a big deal. This is Katie and Kyle. A lot of the elements of this wedding I feel like were minimalistic, kind of because this is a pair of shoes that Katie already had, and she was going to wear again. I mean, like, why wouldn't she? They're super, super fun. That block heel, goals. I just love a statement shoe. So she wore that, but what's really interesting about this is that what the shoe is being laid out on, and you'll notice that it's just different from my typical shoe shots. I really want to show this nice, just the overall structure of the shoe, but what the shoes were laid on top of was this shawl that she was wearing for the day. And the vibes of this shawl, I frequently was gasping at how beautiful Katie looked throughout the day, and so editorial and chic, and it was just like, it was a moment, and I loved it. So so even though it's a shoe shot, we're also including, you know, another element of her whole wedding attire. So I don't know how, but Badgley Mischka became the wedding shoe for a very, very long time. I mean, they're stunning, it makes sense, but damn, like they kind of like cornered the market in a way. So we have a lot of Badgley Mischka that I run into during weddings. I love this. So although I'm a wedding photographer, I also say I'm a professional furniture rearranger. So constantly throughout the wedding day, mostly prep, we're rearranging things. So this had a phone on it and all these like little details. This is just like a nightstand. So clear that off, put the shoes on. We allowed some light to kind of peek through and just light up the shoes. But I love it because we're still keeping that darkness on the other side. And I feel like having the light in the dark, it really makes the image pop. And it's a little bit more dynamic than a flat image. So I really love these. Very delicate. I feel like they're probably comfortable with that block heel. That's what's happening a little bit more now for weddings is comfort, right? We want to be comfortable. It's going to be a long, long day. And you don't know what elements you're going to be walking into, which Danielle had to walk in mud. It was kind of raining on her wedding day. And she was down for it. She was in there. So I don't know if the shoes will ever be that clean again, but I'm glad to get a photo of it. We have another Badgley Mischka. This one is from Gabby and Danny's wedding that actually just happened. Now, this is a very, very simple shot, but what I'm looking for when I'm taking photos is crossover elements. Sounds weird, but. So do you see how the shoe kind of has this, it's not a rounded toe, it has this, an angular toe. So for me, the angle of the shelf works really well with the angle of the shoe. And it kind of is just directing it and kind of like following through, as well as the angle of the window pane that's right there. Now, it's weird because I think that as you're moving throughout the wedding day, it's a very long day, things are moving fast. It's almost as if you're not thinking about those things, but I very much am. Those are the things that are coming to my mind as soon as I start photographing, is these subconscious elements and how we can tell the story. So I don't know, it's a very simple shot, but I think that it drives the eye right into the shoe, which I love. So beautiful. So now we finally have Tatiana and Justin's wedding day. Now this is another pair of Badgley Mischka. I wanted to include the elements with the bouquet as well because we have this floral pattern that's kind of happening on the actual shoe, and I just felt like it made sense to kind of go together. So I kept the bouquet with the shoes. Now I love the eucalyptus that's happening on the bouquet. I feel like that works really well with the mauve color of the shoe, and then we're adding some nice marble in there, just kind of like leading up. So I really love this shot. Really simple. It was such a beautiful day. This was actually New Orleans. It was so fun. It was just, I'm sorry, it was probably one of the most fun weddings that I've ever been to as a guest and as a wedding vendor. There was a second line parade, so all the good things. So beautiful, so vibrant, so full of life and energy. And you know, the second I walked in, I felt at home with everyone there. So I just have a lot of good memories associated with this wedding gallery. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, or I hope you ladies enjoyed this. I hope everyone enjoyed this. This was so fun to kind of walk down memory lane in shoes. I love it. And if you would like to see more of this, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, do all the things. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.